Hey, what's going on, guys? It's FPL Yusuf here, and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to be bringing you guys my game week 14. It's going to be a compilation of my final team selection, but also with an overall complete guide due to the short turnaround of game weeks this week. So we're going to cover a lot in this video. We're going to cover what my current transfer plans are, how we got in game week 13. We're going to take a look at what my watch list is looking like for this coming game week, but also a few weeks in advance and a whole lot more as well. So I do hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, please don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe down below. And as always, let's just jump straight into it. Okay, welcome back, guys. Thank you so much for being here with me today on my YouTube channel for another video. So let's take a look at how we got on in game week 13. We'll have a quick little recap about how the team got on. Overall, it was a very, very underwhelming game week so far. The team just didn't really perform to the way we would hoped. We finished on 43 points overall, a very small red arrow down to just outside the top million. I think we're about 1,017,000. So the overall rank drop, was small, but the way the team performed and one of the chips we played almost feels like a bit of a waste. So in goal, we had Donnarumma. Again, no clean sheet for him. Picked up another silly yellow card, which puts him to 4 now. However, he did save a penalty in this game, which is why he's sitting on 5 points. But I think in the next few weeks, especially when we get to those 5 free transfers, he's going to be someone that I'm looking to move out very quickly because Man City just aren't keeping enough clean sheets, and he just keeps picking up these silly little yellow cards, which if they do keep a clean sheet, he's never getting maximum potential for it anyway. And plus, like I said, he's on 4 at the moment, so that is 1 away from suspension. So yeah, we're going to look to move him out very soon. The defense, not much better. Obviously, the double Crystal Palace defense lost their clean sheets. Both of them very close to DEFCON. Munoz finished on 7, I think it was, and Chris Richards finished on 9. So 1 and 3 away, respectively. So very, very close from them. A little bit disappointing with that. I kind of thought that this game, especially because Palace were at home, that they would sort of be able to hold it down against Manchester United. But unfortunately, they couldn't do it. Saliba obviously didn't play for us against Chelsea. So we got the auto sub for Senesi. Again, not really much to talk about here. A little bit underwhelming, a little bit disappointing. It seems we had Trevor Chalobah as the second substitute defender who actually scored and came away with 9 points, but unfortunately the bench points of Senesi's 2 came on. So yeah, overall the defense, 4 points between them, not really good enough. The midfield, however, a little bit more positive this week as it has been to previous weeks. Semenyo, a 1 pointer again. I think it's going to be looking time to move him on very soon as well. Then we have the 2 midfielders who we brought in this week in Declan Rice and Bruno Guimaraes, both coming back with 4 points each. So compared to how the midfielders have gone over the last few weeks, that is a definite big upside for us. Obviously, both hitting DEFCONs. I'm hoping that over the course of the next coming weeks, they will sort of chip in with goals and assists as well as the DEFCONs. But, as a baseline for the price they're at, we'll take that 4 points every week. And of course, Bruno Fernandes coming back in with the biggest score of the week with 11, 2 assists, bonus points. And this is why we have him in the team. Obviously, he's so consistent with minutes, but also every time he gets an attacking return, usually pushes him into 3 bonus points as well. So very happy with his haul because of how the team has played overall so far. Then we come onto the forward line, and this is where it got really bad. So Danny Welbeck, got subbed off just after the hour mark. We're going to talk about him in the next section. 2 points for him. Mateta did score. He played 90 minutes, but obviously no bonus points for him as Palace lost the game to only a 6. And then Erling Haaland on the triple captaincy, a complete blank against Leeds at home. I couldn't believe it. This was almost like a game where it's just set up for Haaland to score goals. Manchester City scored 3. They had shots after shots after shots, and yet Haaland he only made an XG of 0.13, which is truly awful. And it was just a really bad triple captaincy this week. These things can happen. Obviously, like I said, on paper before the game week, it looked like the best fixture until game week 19 onwards. So I'm not really too mad about that. It's just a little bit disappointing with the way it carried out. But overall, like I said, it was only a small red arrow, so not the end of the world. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we can bounce back this week, and we need the defense and the midfield to start picking up more points because they are really underwhelming us at the moment. Right, so onto my transfer plans. What am I thinking of doing this week to try and rectify these sort of low score game weeks over the last few weeks? So I think first up, in an ideal world, I would want to roll this week. Now, the reason why is because my starting 11 is actually okay for this week. Like on paper, everyone's fixtures are fairly decent. And then next week, there's a lot of fixture swings for me. So, Crystal Palace are starting to come off their good run. So that means Munoz would probably come out. Mateta would probably come out as well. So I think having 2 transfers in next game week on the following weekend, it almost makes sense to me. However, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it there, and we're going to discuss why now. So obviously we have 2 suspensions this week in Senesi and Caicedo, which means we only have 1 available bench spot in Trevor Chalobah. Now, when I look at my team, obviously Saliba is still flagged, so there's no guarantee that he's going to play. Now, even if he doesn't play, that's fine. Chalobah will come in against Leeds away, so not the end of the world. It's more, there are other players in this team that I don't know whether are going to guarantee themselves 90 minutes. Danny Welbeck being one, Mateta being another one. So it's more so that I haven't really got a lot of firepower from the bench as I have 2 suspensions. So realistically speaking, I am thinking about making, one of my transfers on one of those players. So the first one up is Senesi. Now, I know Senesi does have Burnley in a few weeks' time, but I just think for me, Bournemouth aren't defending well at the moment. They're conceding a lot of goals. They're not keeping clean sheets. And like I said, for me, my bench is very light this week, and I don't really like having it like that. So the first transfer that I'd be looking to make if I was going to move Senesi out would probably be to a Newcastle asset. Either be Dan Burn or Malik Chow. Now, I know Malik Chow's probably a little bit of a hindsight, a little bit of a knee-jerk because of the fact that he scored a brace, but he's 4.9 million, which means he's just under that 5 bracket, but also he's getting good minutes. He is good for DEFCONs, as is Dan Burn as well. Not really too much difference in price for them. They have got Tottenham at home this week. It's not the best fixture in the world, but it's also not the worst. I would probably back Newcastle to win that game, so I wouldn't mind starting one of them. For me, I think it's just a case of just trying to figure out, is that the best move going forward? They do play Burnley and Sunderland following that, so it's a really nice run of 3 fixtures. The other player that I'm looking at to move, if I was going to move Senesi out, would be Joachim Andersen. For this game week, it's not really the best move because they are playing Manchester City. Despite the fact it is at home, it's still not an ideal fixture. But it's the following fixtures for the next sort of 3-4 game weeks after that I'm probably looking to target. So I don't know whether or not it'd be a smart move bringing him in now. Obviously trying to save transfer for the long-term run, but also that means that we'll be playing a defender against Manchester City, which is never an ideal spot. Another defender that I'm looking to move out is William Saliba. Obviously, it just hasn't been good for him. He's missed a few odd games here and there. He hasn't really got the upside that Calafiori or Timber has. For me, it would be a straight swap from Saliba to Timber. I don't really know if there's much point of doing that this week, considering we don't know whether Saliba's going to be fit or not. So I'd probably just bypass that. But at some point over the next few weeks, that is definitely going to be a transfer that I am going to make. I'm going to move Saliba out, and it will be to bring in Jurrien Timber, as well as another Arsenal defender to double up from them. I think from game week 16 when they play Wolves. So that will be the week that I target to do that. And obviously, we will get 5 free transfers for that. So yeah, a few things to think about. Like I said, in an ideal world, I would love to roll this week, but I just don't think I'm going to be able to do it solely because my bench is really light at the moment, but also I think there are a few minutes risks in my team as well. So let's take a look at some goals and clean sheet odds for this coming game week. So first up, we'll start off with the expected goals. Liverpool are actually highest on this with a 2.18 expected goals. Again, with Liverpool attack, we've spoken about this before. It's really difficult to sort of narrow down who to go with. Obviously, Salah's been benched last week. Liverpool have won the game because of it. Are they going to go back to him now? Maybe not. I don't see why you would. Obviously, Isak started up front, got himself a goal. Again, is he going to be dropped anytime soon? Maybe, but maybe not. Obviously, it's a lot of ask to be playing 3 games in the space of a week, so we may see rotation there naturally. But I just think it's just almost too hard to predict Liverpool's minutes for their attacking players at the moment, so I'd probably just stay away from them. Second up is Manchester United. Now, there is a potential, and I'm going to talk about this in my watch list in the next section, about a Joshua Zirkzee. So, obviously, if you're looking to move out, a minutes rotation striker, Mateta's one of those players that I do think I'm a little bit cautious about this week, but obviously they are playing against Burnley and you're just never going to take him out before that game. But it's something that I am definitely thinking about. And obviously Man United predicted to score, second highest goals this week. And obviously Xerxes coming back with his goal last week just almost makes sense. So definitely want to keep an eye on. Arsenal in at number 3. Again, with Arsenal, I think it's a little bit more tricky because they are getting players back now. Obviously, MIDWEEK is competing with the likes of Bukayo Saka. Gyökeres is back now. He came off the bench. So does that mean he's going to get minutes over Mikel Merino? I think there's just a little bit too much uncertainty with these teams at the moment. And of course, Man City up 4th. Erling Haaland is obviously going to be there for all of us. Phil Foden, I know he come off the back with a brace. I just don't know if I can rely on him as much. We saw it from Doku a few weeks back where he had that big haul and then all of a sudden he's just been quiet ever since then. So yeah, for me, Phil Foden definitely want to keep an eye on. I think we all know how much potential he's got and what he can do. I just don't know if this is the week that I'd be personally bringing him in. Okay, so then we take a look at the defensive clean sheets, and of course, no surprise, Arsenal are in at that number 1 spot with 54% this week. They have got Brentford at home. It's a great fixture on paper. Like I said, for me, Timber is the standout option right now. Obviously, without Gabriel, Saliba, we're not sure on yet. I think he's the standout. I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw Calafiori come back in. I think the only reason why he got subbed at halftime against Chelsea was solely because of the yellow card. So I wouldn't be too worried about that if you are an owner. Liverpool in at 2nd with 45%. I think a lot of people probably would have gone for Van Dijk a few weeks back. I think if you've got him, you just keep him. Would I go anywhere else? Probably not. I know we saw Joe Gomez start right back. He did get an assist and obviously Liverpool kept a clean sheet, but there's always that rotation risk but there's always that chance of him being rotated and their fullbacks being swapped out. So for me, I just wouldn't go there at all. Crystal Palace in at 3. Obviously, if you've got any of them, Lacroix, Guehi, Richards, Munoz, I think you're fine. This will probably be the last week that I keep a Crystal Palace defender anyway, so hopefully going out with a bang with the double defence. And of course, last up is Manchester United with 40%. Again, it's really difficult to pick a Manchester United defender because they don't really get DEFCONs consistently. So it's kind of tricky to sort of narrow down to a defender who you're hoping is going to just keep a clean sheet. Obviously, you've got De Ligt, you've got Euro, you've got Luke Shaw. These are probably the 3 that I'd be looking at. But I just think, despite the fact that they've got West Ham this week and then they've got Wolves next week, I still probably just wouldn't go there. just because of the fact that it's Man United, and no disrespect to any Man United fans out there, I just don't know what Man United is going to turn up on each separate week. So for me, it's probably just a little bit of a stay away for now. Right, so let's take a look at what my watch list is looking like. And of course, first up, we'll start off with the defense. I'm not going to do goalkeepers this week because goalkeepers are pretty much just, you pick one and you just stick with them, and just whatever happens, happens with them. So with the defense first, I still got Daniel Munoz at number one. This will probably be the last week he stays there. Obviously, Burnley is a fantastic fixture. Obviously, without Ismail Assar there is a lot of potential that he starts going forward a lot more. I mean, we all know how high and wide he plays anyway, but obviously without Ismail Assar on that right-hand side, maybe there will be a more attacking emphasis on him to create as well. So yeah, Munoz number one for me. Timber still at number two. Obviously, Brentford at home, fantastic fixture on paper. He obviously offers attacking threat as well. So them two are pretty much, I think they're worth the price. They are on the premium side, but I do think that they are worth it because they combine clean sheets with attacking threat as well. Next up, I've gone for Malik Chow. Now, like I said, it is a little bit of hindsight, and this could easily be Dan Burn. I think I've gone for him just because he's a little bit cheaper. I think he's got just one more game ahead of Dan Burn with DEFCONs, but it is very close between them. There really isn't much to separate them. Obviously, he did get a brace on the weekend, just gone. Don't bring him in for that reason, because if you're looking for attacking returns from a defender from Newcastle, Dan Burn's probably going to get more than he will. But for me, like I said, it's 0.2 saved in price, and I just think that for me, Newcastle's fixtures, even this week, Tottenham at home, but after that, they've got a good, nice run of fixtures. So yeah, for me, he's a hold, and if you do bring him in, you can just wait till like game week 19, 20 before you look to change him out anyway. I've gone for Nico O'Reilly in at number 4. Obviously, Man City, a little bit touch and go defense, but he obviously offers an attacking threat. Fulham away this week, not the greatest fixture in the world, but also Fulham don't really score a load of goals. So if you are looking for a Man City asset to bring in, Matthias Nunes is obviously another one which I do like, but I think for me, there's not really too much to choose between them. Last up, I will go for Matthias de Ligt. Now, obviously, like I said, if it's me personally, I wouldn't go for a Man United defender. I just can't trust them. But if you are looking for a bit of a differential, you are looking for an upside over the next two, West Ham, Wolves, it doesn't really get much better than that. So yeah, for me, de Ligt will be in at that number 5 spot. Okay, then we come on to midfielders. Bruno Fernandes is sitting at number 1 for me. Despite the fact he's not played in that number 10 role, I still do think he just offers the best value for money, but also the best minutes as well. So West Ham this week, Wolves next week, genuine captaincy next week as well. We've seen what he's done from the previous week, that when he gets an assist, 2 assists, he's going to get the 3 bonus points. There is obviously upside with him for DEFCON. He nearly hit it in this game week as well, which could have been a monster haul from him. But I just think pound for pound, overall for value for money in terms of minutes, output, DEFCONs, he is the best for me. And of course, he's on penalties. In at number 2, I've gone for Declan Rice. Brentford at home, again, a fantastic fixture. He's on some set pieces. As we saw from the previous week, did get DEFCON as well. He will chip in with goals and assists along the way too. And I think at his price point, he offers such a high upside for, a team who obviously are playing really well as well. So yeah, for me, Bruno Fernandes, like I said, is number 1. Declan Rice, number 2. I have put Antoine Semenyo in at number 3. Now, this is because of the fact that it's Everton. Obviously, they came off a really heavy defeat to Newcastle. Will they look to bounce back? Maybe, but I think Bournemouth at home can be quite dangerous as well. So I think this, again, might be one of the last weeks that I look to keep Semenyo, but I do think that he has upside for this week, and then maybe Burnley in a couple of weeks' time as well. So if you are looking to hold long-term, maybe you could get away with it over the next few, but I just think if we're talking about this week specifically, I do like him as a pick. I've got Enzo Fernandez in at number 4. Obviously, without Caicedo there, does that mean Lavia is going to come in? Probably, which might free up Enzo a little bit more to move forward. Obviously, with Cole Palmer coming back, as long as he's not on the pitch, Enzo Fernandez will be a penalty taker as well. I think at the price point he does offer a little bit of open play threat too. So yeah, I do like Enzo Fernandez. I think for the price that he's at is a very good pickup. And I do think, around that sort of 6.5 to 7 million, you probably won't find many better midfielders, especially if you are looking for, like I said, Ismail Assar replacement. We've seen that he's been injured. I think it's almost a nice swap, especially going into Leeds away. And then last up is a little bit more of an expensive option, and that is Bukayo Saka. Obviously, Brentford at home, I think for Arsenal is a good fixture. I do expect 2-3 goals scored in this game from them. Bukayo Saka looked very bright against Chelsea, made a few decisions, maybe not to the best of his standard, but I think we saw from that game that he was getting chances still, and he still is a threat for Arsenal. And last up, onto the strikers, Erling Haaland still remains number 1, of course. He is the best striker in the league with the best output. Number 2, I've gone for Jean-Philippe Mateta. Now, this probably, again, same as a lot of the Crystal Palace assets, will be my last week that I own him. Burnley, I think, is just a fantastic fixture on paper. I am a little bit concerned about his minutes, just because the fact that it's going from weekend, midweek, weekend. I don't know if he's going to play 90 minutes in all of them. Obviously, with Ismail Assar being out injured, that does mean Nketiah probably will play on the right-hand side, which almost is a benefit for Mateta's minutes, but I would err on the side of caution with him, and especially after this game week, he's probably going to be one of the players that I look to move out next week anyway. Nick Voltemade in at number 3. Obviously, Newcastle have got a decent run of fixtures coming up. Tottenham at home, it's not a great fixture, but it's also not a terrible one. I do think that there could be chances for Newcastle in this game, so yeah, for me, I think he's a steady Eddie in that sort of mid-bracket price range for strikers. João Pedro in at number 4. I do think that there's a lot more chance of rotation for him now that Cole Palmer's being back. I think Chelsea will look to ease Palmer in, maybe a little 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there over the next few weeks. So that's why he's down at number 4. But obviously, he's still a good asset, still a good price point, and obviously Leeds is still a good fixture for Chelsea. So yeah, I think if you are looking for a 1-week punt, maybe, but in terms of a long-term pick, I probably wouldn't go there. And last up is a little bit of a differential at number 5. We spoke about him previously, and that is Joshua Zirkzee. Now, Man United, like I said, are second for most goals expected this week. Zirkzee coming off the back of a goal in the previous game week, so he is in good form. Obviously, it was against Crystal Palace as well, which isn't a bad defence. So they've got West Ham this week. They've got Wolves next week. If you're looking for a short-term punt, I don't mind it actually, and I do think that he probably will play both those games with Sesko being out, with Cunha not being available as well. I do think we're likely to see Joshua Zirkzee start both of them. Okay, and finally, let's take a look at what the team is looking like for this game week. Now, I haven't made any transfers. I haven't gone early on anyone yet. I want to give myself as much time to think about what the right decision for my team is this week. So Donnarumma will remain in goal, Fulham away. It's not an ideal fixture. He is picking up, silly yellow cards here and there, like I've said previous in this video. He is definitely a transfer waiting to happen. But at the time of me recording this, I just can't do it yet. I've got a lot more fires to put out before I deal with him. So he's going to just stay in goal. Double Palace defence, probably the last week that I owned both of them, Munoz and Chris Richards. Obviously, Burnley away. It's a nice fixture to go out on. So hopefully, fingers crossed, they can double up with that clean sheet. I am going to be starting Saliba in this game. I don't know whether he's going to be fit or not. At the time of me recording this, it's currently Monday morning. It's very early. It's about 6:45 in the morning. So we haven't heard anything yet. Hopefully, we'll get a press conference a little bit later. But obviously, Arsenal play on Wednesday. So we won't know any early team news or anything like that. So yeah, for me, he's going to start right now, but there is potential that obviously I do make a transfer for Senesi, and then whoever that player that I bring in will probably start over Saliba anyway. The midfield 4 stay the same: Bruno Guimaraes, Rice, Semenyo, and Bruno Fernandes. We'll start off with the 2 Brunos first. Bruno Fernandes, West Ham at home. It's a great fixture on paper. Is there a potential for a captaincy shout this week? Maybe. I think my captaincy is 60-40, 60% in favour of Erling Haaland because of who it is. But if I was going to go anywhere else, it probably would be Bruno Fernandes just due to his route to points. Bruno Guimaraes, on the other hand, Tottenham at home. I'm hoping Tonali will start this game, which will allow Bruno Guimaraes to move forward a little bit, because that was one of the things that he didn't do last week. Obviously, he was the deepest midfielder for that Newcastle side. So hopefully, fingers crossed, Tonali will play this week. Semenyo's got a great fixture at home to Everton. Obviously, Everton come off the back of a heavy defeat to Newcastle. So we've seen that they can ship goals there. Semenyo needs to start picking up returns soon, otherwise he's going to be on the chopping block as well. For that price point you're paying for him, obviously we did know at the start of the season he was overperforming his XG, and I think that is one thing to take into consideration with him, is that probably has caught up with him now. But still, at the price he's at, we need to see some returns sooner rather than later. And of course, Declan Rice, just value for money, pound for pound, is just fantastic. It's just a great option. He's on set pieces, he offers attacking threat, he offers def cons. He's probably going to play 90 minutes every game that he's fit and available. So yeah, for me, just a great pick and someone that you can just rely on and just leave in the team to sort of tick over nicely. And then we come into the front 3. Mateta against Burnley. Obviously, like I said, probably be the last week that we own him. Haaland against Fulham is my captaincy right now. Will he become deadline? I'm not too sure. Danny Welbeck against Aston Villa is one that I'm sort of umming and ahhing about. Now, obviously, Igor Thiago's got Arsenal this week, so it's probably a bad entry point for him. But I think there is, at least in the back of my mind, an idea to bring Thiago in over the next few weeks. So I don't know if I want to move Danny Welbeck out for someone this week to have to then move that someone out to Thiago, or do I just firm it and just keep Welbeck in this lineup? Aston Villa at home, it's not the worst fixture in the world. I think I'm probably just more concerned about his minutes and the fact that obviously he's 34 and playing, potentially 3 games in a week. So I'm not too sure how that's going to go for him. So yeah, just a little bit of concern on that one. But overall, that is what my team is looking like. Like I said, there probably will be a transfer this week. In an ideal world, I would love to roll and take 2 into next week, but I just don't think I'm going to be able to do it because my defense, especially my bench, is looking quite light. So yeah, that is what my final team selection is looking like. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe down below. Like I said at the start of this video, I have combined, transfer targets and a final team selection into one because of the short turnaround for deadline. It will probably be the same for this coming weekend as well. I'll just do both of them in one long video. So if you have stayed to the end of this, thank you so much. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe down below, and I'll catch you guys next time.